we are going live.
Oh
Let
God,
us
there goes the
see
neighborhood.
if the YouTube gods shall bless us or
Oh God!
not.
If YouTube's a
Oh
god,
yeah, they have blessed us. They have blessed us tonight. Welcome everyone to Titan's Table, Magic the Gathering edition. I hope you are all doing well. Tonight we will be discussing, I bet you guys can't guess, Magic the Gathering.
Oh man, and here I was gonna say what T-shirt contests.
Oh man, that'd be so great.
you can have one of those in your store.
Yeah, let's do it. Happy
All right, I'm not
holidays.
crossing that line.
Are you
No,
sure?
no.
I
How do
was
you
gonna
think
say
Wizards
start us
feel
off.
about that? How would
All right,
Wizards
Grim,
feel
start
about
us off.
that?
Let's see.
Okay. All right. Hello, everyone. Yes, it's been a little while since we had a
I
time
am
table.
not
Yes.
answering that question.
It has been. It has been a
and
little bit. It
we
has.
we are back.
Yes.
Hopefully going to a more, definitely going to a more consistent format. Try and get more people involved.
Yes.
Unfortunately, Cinder is not with us tonight because he is at work. Um, but he will return eventually. So
Yes, he will.
I guess one of the things we're going to start off with is, and I think it's a very important topic, especially for paper magic, is what is the health of the LGSs right now? Going into the holiday season, going into Christmas, we're almost there, and coming off of Black Friday, how did the LGS system fare? At least in this area, and I think Asfera, you're probably the best person to answer this because you're in that you're
So,
you're in that right now, which is at your store. So anyway, go ahead.
so I mean, the simplest thing is, I mean, we should let more people file in. We're sitting at 7 right now. That's cool. But how do we fare? The chatter from the groups I belong to is that Black Friday was great this year, but December is down on average. I think people spent a lot more money on Black Friday this year and have a lot less money in December and are finishing up. But like every year in the industry, people in December are thinking of other people, not themselves. Gamers have families too, for the most part.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Yes, Tony, Asfera Claus. the Asfera Claus. Merry Christmas, everybody. That's my preferred greeting.
Wow, your preferred greeting, huh?
Oh yeah,
Oh wow,
that's not a zing, is it?
No,
it is now.
That's my preferred greeting.
shouldn't your
What's yours?
preferred greeting be more than one greeting, like Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays, like all of them in one long stream?
I am borderline okay with it, but I mean, if you're just gonna combine them all, just say Merry Happy Christmas Hana Kwanzaa.
Exactly.
Wow.
That's a preferred greeting. That's what I'm getting at. That's the preferred greeting. Um, so it's good to hear that you had a great Black Friday. And does that mean you sold a lot of sealed product and singles, or a lot of singles, or was it mostly sealed product?
Mostly,
How was that
mostly,
landscape?
mostly singles. Sealed product just wasn't feeling right this year, but that's because everybody wants Brawl, and Brawl isn't restocking until tomorrow.
Oh, it restocks
Uh,
tomorrow.
Yes.
Interesting.
does that mean it's coming in tomorrow? Or does it mean you can order it tomorrow?
I will have it here tomorrow.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. So good. It's good. So that's the hottest selling thing right now as far as sealed product goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God, bless you, Asfera. That was a crazy sneeze. Happy Christmas Hana Kwanzaa. Yeah.
It
Uh,
was indeed. Yeah. So the brawl decks. I mean, okay. I
the
mean, at
market's
least
gonna
something is
start getting.
selling.
So the good news is for buyers in the next week, be ready to start cleaning house online. As people get their products today and tomorrow, a lot of these are going to get broken for singles because the money's there. The arcane signets are pretty much paying for the whole deck. Well, not quite, but they're doing a significant portion of it. So you can expect to see a lot of singles bottom out. I think that arcane signets are going to get down to about $5 a piece, maybe even 4.
How much are they at right now?
They're showing a stock value of about $9, and I mean I haven't looked at a direct TCG price. Maybe I should, but I mean, let's see.
TCG player Arcane Signet. Arcane. They are sitting right around $6.
TCG players showing a stock market at 4 with an average of 5. I think
Yeah.
in the next week buy every one you can get your hands on because you're not going to see them after this point. I think this is I think there's no more print run after this wave.
You think so?
Oh yeah.
And there's a lot of value in those brawl decks.
Yes.
Definitely.
Yes.
Especially with standard singles. I mean, what was it? Vol something? The big one? Brain farting. Hold on, let me pull it up.
The green?
Sort, price, descending. Corvold.
Oh, yes.
Like, he's one of the most expensive cards of the set. You can only get him from a deck. He's a $15 card because of how stupid he is in standard.
Yes.
But getting back to the health of the industry, everybody was holding their sealed money for Christmas gifts, stocking stuffers, things like that. And you're looking at Brawl decks being the thing of the year and not having enough. Like, they were supposed to be out November 15th.
Were
November
they?
Yeah, November 15th turned into December 19th.
Why did they hold them back?
Because they put it this way, Throne of Eldraine is sold out in every distributor, which means they had to yank printing presses offline, and they had to they yanked the Throne printing press to print these.
Right, fair enough. That's
Throne is on backlog. If you want Throne of Eldraine, get it now because it's going to be dry by January.
You think so?
Oh yeah, it's already like I sold out today, and I'm not expecting to have it restocked for mid-January, and actually I'm not expecting it restocked until after Theros.
Wow.
So that seems pretty bad for people who want to play limited. You know,
Yeah, it
and
does.
limited is I think still a very popular Friday Night Magic format. You know,
But honestly, with the Pioneer Oko banning and a few other things, I think that we're at a cool-off point for Theros anyways.
Yes, that's true.
Yeah. A lot of people are buying packs to get those Okos, and those Okos just aren't worth it anymore.
They're still $40 a piece, man, and that's purely on legacy and vintage play.
I think they'll go down, but I hear you. They do have some value, and but they're not playable in modern, are they? They playable in modern?
Yes,
it's
they're
modern,
so.
legacy, vintage, right? That's
they're
the
sitting at
format
around
that's playable.
$30, which isn't bad.
Modern, and I don't think they'll get banned in modern.
I don't either. I think that Oko is okay in those older formats.
We'll see what happens with that.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at an EV, you're looking at 57 on the low, 92 on the market, and 120 on average. But looking at the market value, 92 is still better than the cost of most boxes these days.
That's true. That's true.
Yeah.
So people are looking to buy boxes. I guess that was something else I was going to ask.
Yes.
How to boost the boxes sell? It sounds like Throne of Eldraine is selling very well. Now, I do have a question about that. Is that because they're not printing a lot, or is that because the demand is high?
I think there is a demand there for the Okos and the Gilded Gooses, which I still say is the problem in Standard. But that being said, it's probably a choke in the supply chain. Every single time this happens and there's a choke in the supply chain, it's too much product being printed. Way too much product being printed.
Yes, I could agree. I could agree with that.
So I think I understand. It's just too many different products are being printed. Not that they're printing too much of any one product. They've just got too many different products that they're trying to sell and trying to push on the consumers. And this is making it so that people can't get the amount they want of any one of those products because we're stuck waiting for them to be printed. I'm assuming that's kind of what's going on.
The more artificial demand that Wizards can keep up by choking out supply, the faster their products are going to sell. And the cash grab editions and everything else, and Wizards of the Coast Wizards of the Coast, from what I heard from people I can't mention, they sold far more of those singles than they care to admit. And that when they finally start shipping and arriving in homes, I think the market's going to flood and they're going to be worth half of what people paid for them.
Yikes. Well, that might upset some people, make other people happy, depending upon how you view the finance. Yeah.
I mean, any of the financiers that went crazy on buying them are going to have to sit on them for 2 or 3 years to go up. And the average person that bought them hoping to get rich quick are going to dump them at a loss just to recoup their money because they can't afford to keep their credit card percentages. And to the people that bought them because they truly want to play with them are just going to feel burnt over it.
Right.
Now, I think my next question about the health of the LGSs, I'm glad that it sounds like everyone had good Black Fridays. I hope that maybe over, the home stretch here to Christmas, we'll maybe see a little pickup in the stores, especially your store.
I think post Christmas.
Post Christmas, like with the people using maybe gift cards, gift certificates. Do you guys do gift certificates out of there?
No, I'm not a fan of those gift certificate programs. I'd rather do store credit or something else. And I do a few other things in my store. Like for instance, we do limited store credit and cash store credit. So somebody can come in and put cash on your account. We'll file it away, and then you can spend it in the store like a regular gift certificate. But all of those
Right.
gift certificate companies that allow stores to do in-house gift certificates, you can do the paper ones, and if they lose them, they're screwed. I don't like
Right.
that. I like to keep it right there at the register, master copy they can spend.
Oh yeah, definitely.
But if you do the plastic ones that you can load up, then your options are go out and get an inferior system that can be hacked and get screwed, or go out and pay a company to do gift cards for you and then end up eating 15-20% of the cost to that company,
Right.
or let people just come in and spend the money the way they will. I mean, I would love to get people to lock into my business, but the truth of the matter is I can't justify it as a business and I can't justify it to the customers.
Right. Definitely.
I like your system, and we did that up in New Hampshire as well. We started doing paper gift certificates, but people will lose them, and you feel bad because they walk in, they say I lost a gift certificate, they don't really have any proof they bought it,
Right.
but
And then it puts pressure on you as a business owner. Like, do you
exactly.
want to make this customer happy, or
You want to
do
make
you
the
want
customer
to
happy.
stick to the kind of rules that you've made, and that's you have to have the certificate or a
Unfortunately,
receipt.
unfortunately, there is no making somebody happy in that situation because a lost gift certificate found by someone else is reusable by that person. You can't reissue.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that's why gift certificates, the paper gift certificates have failed so horribly, is because technically they're non-transferable, and there's a way of doing it where you could void out the old one, go into your book, look up the
Right.
customer record, void the old one, and then create a new one, and then somebody comes up with the paper one, and you say, sorry, this was voided by the customer.
Right.
And now what happens if this person took a $20 gift certificate, bought it from you, traded it to his friend for $20 in cards, or friend, and then
And then
turns
screwed it
around.
over, and then used it. Came in and said, "Oh, I don't have the gift certificate, but I want to use it. Like, can you
Yeah.
help me out?" And then it puts you in an awkward spot again. That's a
And
problem.
so I like the system. This just basically make it store credit, log it,
Yeah.
and then tell maybe write a little note saying, hey, you have $20 in store credit over at the store, and then they can go
I,
and use it.
I literally keep an index card, an index box in my store of all the store credits, all the cash on hand, things like that.
Right.
And my customers absolutely love it because they can just walk in on the dime, spend it, use it, save
Yeah.
it. Oh God, what's this meme?
I mean, it's a good system the way that you're
Yes,
doing
it's
it.
just so what I was trying to get at sort of was about the turnouts. Things like Friday Night Magic, um, Commander Pods, Draft, stuff like that. It sounds like Draft is kind of a problem because you
Draft
said
has
that
died.
Draft. Well,
Draft is,
they don't
draft.
have the booster boxes out there, then no one can draft, so it doesn't.
Well, there's that, but let's just put it this way: I haven't fired a draft in almost a year, and the last draft I fired was a fun set draft and stuff like that, and like some of the Masters editions.
Right.
The truth of the matter is, draft is linked to the health of the format.
Oh yeah,
If the
definitely.
format is super healthy, people are playing it, and cards have strong value, then people will play in drafts because they hope to make their money back. Because let's face it, in a real draft, not everybody's getting something. You're cracking 3 packs.
Right.
You're putting in whatever the cost of the draft is, $15, $20, depending on what the prize support is.
Right.
Right? And then you're walking away paying that amount of money for 3 booster packs. It's just not feel goods.
Right. Exactly.
And Wizards is pushing the feel good situation as opposed to the competitive situation. And as long as they keep pushing feel good Magic as opposed to competitive Magic, the scenes are going to slowly dry up and go away.
Right.
You need a percentage of competitive play in your shop to, when somebody comes in and sees it and they see what's going on and they walk over and it sparks their interest and it reminds them of something. Even Commander players will go and look at competitive standard players and see a card in action and go, that would slot right into Nekazar or something like that.
Right. it's
True.
difficult with draft. It's difficult with draft because I feel like it's such a wishy-washy format. People are either really into it or they're really not into it. It's not one of those formats where you can get people that don't like it to play it. You really have to kind of be into it or you have to not be into it. And that's a thing that I think a lot of people just aren't into.
Yeah. I have a question to TARDIS in chat, who said at my LGS, drafts are firing about 3 on average for FNM. How old is your LGS? Is it a newer LGS or is it an older LGS?
Right, that's a good question to ask.
I tend to find that newer LGSs fire more standard and draft, but then as the players age, if you're not getting a new influx of blood, then you lose those players to other formats.
Right.
And stores end up melting out. Not melting out. Like, for instance, we used to fire 3 drafts a week of 16 to 24 players up until about BFZ and Eldrazi Winter.
Yep.
So, yeah, relatively new. New stores do phenomenal with draft and with draft and standard because they don't typically have a huge single selection for older formats. So people are getting in, they're learning, they're building. But as they graduate and cash out, you start to lose that influx of new faces, or they start going to other formats where stuff doesn't rotate.
Right.
I mean, it makes sense. The whole thing about the new store. I remember when the first place I had opened up in New Hampshire, and yeah, that's what we were doing. We were doing all draft, and then we got the constructed formats going. Much later on, down the line, months down the line after we were open. So it makes sense that is the case a lot. With discussing the health of the LGSs, I know that we've been talking about this for more than a year. That the belief that in heavily saturated areas that are saturated with LGSs, that there's going to be a big shutdown. And what I mean by that is, like a lot of stores are going to go out of business.
Oh yeah, it's already happening in my area.
Is it happening in the Boston area? Like, how is that? My question is, how has that progressed? What has been going on with that? And we don't need to name stores, but just kind of like numbers.
Yeah, without mentioning their names, in the last year, 3 stores within a 20-minute drive from me have closed. It's still like 15 stores within a 20-minute drive of me. There was a huge explosion of stores opening at the beginning to middle of 2018.
Right. Yeah, you've mentioned that before, I think.
And like we went from about 10 stores to about 20 stores, right? And when I say stores, there are other stores out there, but you have like little comic stores, which I don't necessarily feed into the Magic scene, like not purely all Magic stores.
Right. We were talking about more competitors to you and people that stores that
not
do
like
things
you're down the street from New England Comics, and they sell packs, right? But they don't.
They've just recently I didn't want to mention their name, but they've just recently canceled doing drafting entirely. Because mathematically, it wasn't after prize support profitable for them. They'd rather just sell the booster packs. Right. They were selling an extra 2 boxes a week and having to pay their staffer to be there 2 extra hours a week. And when you factor in that staffer's hourly pay, it wasn't worth it on the profit line.
Makes sense.
But a company I will mention, apparently Newberry Comics is using one of their stores.
We can mention Newberry Comics.
Yeah, because they're a chain store.
Right.
They just paid to have one of their employees certified as a level 1 judge, and they plan on in one store starting a pilot program to run Friday Night Magic because they're open and Saturday afternoon drafts. And depending on how it goes, they're going to pay for each of their stores to have they're going to pay for the staffer to get certified and stuff. And I'm like, okay, that's pretty cool, but it's still a box store.
Right.
And I think that they're also going to run up against time constraints because all their stores are moved into the malls. And my question about them doing something like that, and I didn't hear that, but I believe it. And for everyone in chat listening, Newberry Comics is a chain store that is in New England. I think they might go down to New York,
right back,
but they don't go much further than that.
Yeah, no.
So I have to ask, like, basically, is this a program that is is WotC involved in this?
I was
Because
just going to ask the same question. Do we think that Wizards of the Coast could be involved in this? We hear so many rumors about GameStop opening stores that
GameStop,
do tabletop
games
games and Magic the Gathering. Do we think this is another revenue for Wizards of the Coast, thinking, well, you know, if we're going to branch into somewhere like GameStop, why wouldn't we do it for the same with like a Newbury Comics? And I'm curious about that.
Yeah, and if you think about it, if this is something that if this is something that they've arranged. So the question that we were just talking about is, you know, what does Newbury Comics have? They have like 20 stores through New England, down to New York.
I'd have to look it up, but they're a pop culture store.
Yeah, so they have I think they have somewhere in the realm of 20 stores on the northeast of the United States. But are they working? Here's the question: is this something that they're working with Wizards on? Because remember all the GameStop rumors and everything like that.
Just so we know, Newbury Comics has 29 locations.
Okay,
29 locations.
But spread out across how many states? I think it's 4.
Yes, 4.
And the majority of them are in Massachusetts and New York.
No, 6. New Hampshire, Massachusetts, Maine, Rhode Island, Connecticut, New York.
All right. And the original one is actually still on Newbury Street where it started.
Yes, Boston.
Yeah, in Boston. Yeah.
The thing with Newbury Comics is I do not think this is something that Wizards of the Coast is funding with them. I know for a fact that so I'm not going to say who the person is. I'm not going to say how I got the information. But an exceptionally good friend of mine has worked for Newbury Comics a very long time.
Yes.
And one of my friends used to actually run out of the Norwood location back in like 2009, 2010, before I opened up a store up here, out of Norwood. Before they closed, before things got shuffled around, he moved in the company, and then they moved into another location. So they have done Magic in the past. But what I think they're doing is they're going to actually post certified events, meaning that they have certified judges on hand.
Right. You think it's going to be on a whole nother level of serious compared to what it was?
Yes. Before it was just something you would do and they would draw like 29 people for a pre-release.
Right.
Now I think it's going to be somewhere along the lines of maybe pulling in, they're going to try to pull in 15 to 20s. Like, it's going to be rough because I don't remember which store it was, but I'm not going to mention the name. Actually, I do know what store it was. I'm not going to mention its name. But, like, I got a Newbury Comics here in Norwood. They actually could be a legitimate threat for the LGS.
Right.
They won't. I don't think they'll ever sell singles. But
there's always that possibility, though.
I mean, obviously with Newbury... No, because they've had opportunity with Pokemon and other stuff in the past to sell singles. They'd rather sell loot boxes and things like that. They'd rather sell loot crates.
Right.
They're a pop culture store.
Yeah, fair enough, yeah.
My pom-pom is hanging funny.
So, I mean, Newbury Comics not selling singles, does a store to be a legitimate LGS threat or legitimate, like, competitive threat have to sell singles? Or do you think that a store can definitely be a legitimate threat without actually carrying singles?
Well, I think mathematically what you're looking for is to be a threat to an LGS, you have to cut out a significant portion of their business. Newbury Comics is not known for selling Magic boxes cheap or even lower pricing. So unless they decide to say, hey, look, instead of taking that, instead of only taking 5% off of MSRP, we're going to take 30% off of MSRP. I don't see them being a big threat yet. But they could just pull that trigger and do it anyways.
Well, there's no MSRP technically anymore.
And by the way, Newbury Comics is not known for selling anything cheap.
Okay, so there isn't a traditional MSRP.
Right, but retail stores still go by.
But if you go into Walmart, right, and you look at a price on the shelf, companies like that factor a percentage. And depending on that percentage depending on that percentage of markup, they like to be in the comfortable range of about 45% minimum. Right. So if they're shooting at like, let's say you go to Walmart and they're $4.28 a pack, then that you could say that's MSRP because that's what it's not a manufacturer's retail price. It's an SRP. It's a suggested retail price. The manufacturer doesn't suggest it. The industry as a whole does. Right. And the industry as a whole does when you take a look at the people that take on the possession of the most amount of it. What are they doing with it?
Sure. Sure. So yeah, I mean we'll have to see what happens with Newbury Comics and
Right.
see if they actually turn into some type of threat for the LGS, and if they spread that to all of their stores, I wonder if it is something that could turn into a deal with Wizards of the Coast, and if it does,
Right.
would Wizards of the Coast help them open in other parts of the country, or
I
maybe
gotta
try
check
to
this
find
mic yet
companies?
He's a
Is
busy
that is
man
that
tonight. He is a busy man.
he is indeed. He is indeed.
I mean, I do see that potential threat of Newbury Comics. I really do. I guess it just depends on how they handle themselves and also how players trust them. Because if you're a
Right.
player and you have that dedicated local game
Ooh,
store you go
disembodied
to,
voice.
they're probably not going to change that. Yes, they might go to one or two events at like a Newbury Comics to scope it out. But if
I
they're dedicated to that local game store, they're not going to just leave the local game store.
Well, in my experience, players are never dedicated. Players,
Well, if
most
they're
Magic
getting
players
okay,
are
so let's put it
play out
this
of
way.
convenience, right?
Right.
That's
I
what
So
will
I
say this.
see.
So my experience
Yeah.
is I have a very dedicated group of players,
right.
but each store might have a dozen players that will never go anywhere else.
Right.
So if you have a dozen players that will never go anywhere else, then that's your dedicated base. Everyone else is whoever will give me whatever they want.
Right.
Yeah, it's true. It's players really they do things out of convenience, and I see players all the time go to a lesser store that's supporting a better store when they'll actually say that is a better store, but I go to this store because it's more convenient.
Right.
Yeah.
And that happens. Seems like
And you also have to
the
consider the
general
price
player.
of things. If you're getting a really good deal on like product from one store, why would you go to somewhere like Newbury Comics and pay that extra 30% or whatever it may be?
Event EV. A lot of players will go someplace just to game the system.
So,
Fair enough. That's true
yeah,
also.
And a lot of players actually do try to game the system, and I don't fault players for trying to take advantage of it,
Yeah, I don't
but
either.
you can always tell the players that are trying to game the system when they walk up to you and go, "Hey, you had 29 players in this event. You're only one short of paying out the higher prize tier
Right.
that you were going to offer. You should really honor that because we drove here from
Yeah, of
here as a group of
course.
6 people, and next time we may be less tempted to show up."
Right.
And I had a customer pull that, and I just looked at him. I was like, "So I make an extra $25 in profit on this event.
Right.
If I honor the higher price tier, I'm below break even because that price tier amount was a break even number. So
Right.
what you're asking me for is to lose money on this event." And they're like, "Well, it's not really a loss. We bought singles, we bought that." And I was like, "What did you buy today?" I actually said this to the player because at this point I didn't want them to come back to my store.
Right. You
"What
get to
did you
that
buy
point.
today?" And they looked at me and they were like, I put them right in deer in headlights thing. And I was like, "I watched the counter. I know what's going through in sales. You've bought like 3 sodas and a bag of chips."
Right. It's not like they came in and spent 50, $60 each.
And,
Or
and,
even
and I,
20
I
bucks
always
each.
feel like crap talking to players like that. I mean, I don't think it's right. But every so often, you just have to check their privilege.
Right. Yeah, no, I completely understand what you're saying. Right.
so
Like,
this
it
is
gets to the point where, as
overall.
an owner, you're just like, okay, so what am I getting out of you, though? If they're going to be cocky about it and say, well, we're not going to come back and spend our money here, okay, well, how much money have you spent here anyway?
So overall, right? At least the stores that are not closing down, what do you say the level of strength is right now? Um,
Weak.
Medium, low,
Weak.
strong. It's weak, right? And
Weak.
this is something we're going to talk about again when we talk about digital products.
One bad month and you're okay. 2 bad months and
You're
you're
toast.
probably considering closing at that point.
Right.
And truth of the matter is, having a strong November. I mean, my sales were up about 30% in November.
Hmm.
That's great.
That
My
is great. Yeah.
My sales in December are down 80%.
Right.
That's bad. That's bad.
Yeah.
So,
It's just what it is.
and it's an ongoing thing, and we know when
Yeah.
we talk about the digital stuff a little later that That seems to be where Wizards is headed, and they're not
And-
really supporting the LGS.
And the spoilers before Christmas is bad. Like, they should have waited until January 1st, got through the end of December, and started everything then. What they're doing right now, trying to build hype early before Christmas, is absolutely dumb.
I also have another question for you. So it's understandable that Wizards of the Coast would want to release high-priced products for the holidays, but how do you, as a local game store owner, feel that they released this week long of Secret Lairs, super expensive collector's edition products, yet didn't give the local game stores a special edition product that they know they would sell through?
Do you want my honest opinion?
I want the
Yeah,
opinion you feel.
absolutely.
I want the opinion you feel comfortable with saying on camera.
All right, so I won't lose my WPN. Okay, got it.
Yes, and that's yes, exactly.
It's bullshit.
I agree. I was thinking about that when I heard about that and heard that they were releasing these exclusive, expensive products right before the holidays. I understand that they need to do that. They need to make money. But what about the local game stores?
I do honestly believe that at least a good percentage of my December FU sales, starting with I had a really strong Black Friday.
Well, that's good.
And that's when they released the really expensive package.
Right. Yes.
Oh
right.
no, did they launch on Black Friday or Cyber Monday?
They launched on Cyber Monday.
They launched on, it was Cyber Monday or Sunday? No, it was Sunday. It was Sunday before Cyber Monday.
Yes,
they did
that's
the big
right.
one.
Yes.
Right. So they started on December 1st, which was Cyber Sunday for them. They took the big chunk of money, but the thing is I have a lot of customers in my store bragging about how they went and bought like multiples of certain ones, some for trade, some to keep, and some for long-term investment.
Right.
And this was definitely a Wizards gets everything, and the LGS just takes it like a Mary Sue.
Right. I feel bad for local game stores in this instance because ultimately you would hope that Wizards of the Coast would give you one product. Like, even if it was a secret lair, like there's only one secret lair that's going to LGSs, but like it's low quantities, like go to your local game store. Even if it was just that, it would have been something. But they did nothing for local game stores. Absolutely
nothing at all. I mean,
nothing.
And it's like a double whammy here, right? You're getting hit with all of their digital marketing, and you're getting hit with them holding back these special products to not giving them to you.
Right.
It's pathetic. It's pathetic.
It is.
You know. So why don't we?
What we got this year? What we got this year was the gift bundle.
Who cares? I'm not trying to say no one cares, but who the fuck cares about gift bundles?
That's the point.
Right.
My store, with the amount of sales volume I do, got 4.
Right. Like, it's not like
No
it's some
one wants them.
special product that everyone's like, oh my gosh, all these exclusive, great, beautiful cards and artworks.
Yeah, remember the gift boxes? Those things were crap.
I remember the Theros gift box that I sold almost 150 of.
You know what? Hey, you know what I still have?
I remember the Ravnica one that I sold almost 100 of.
You know what I still have? 2 cases of the Theros one.
Yeah.
I still have them unopened.
You know what it's worth? It's worth the plastic inside and dividers inside. You get 10 of them, and those dividers are that pack of 10. I think is worth like $50.
Nice. I'll take it.
But that being said, as an LGS owner, we got nothing for Christmas stockings this year. We're barely getting Brawl in, and here's the worst part. Christmas is next Wednesday.
Yes.
Christmas Eve is next Tuesday. Most game stores are going to be shut down Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday of next week, reopening next Friday.
Right.
And I'm going to be off after 10 p.m. on Saturday unless people want to stay late for a party.
Right.
But ideally, I'd like to get home and get some sleep because I got like 28 hours of baking to do over 2 days.
Mail me something.
I'll mail ham sandwich.
Yeah, I'll take it.
So you're going to lose a lot of days this year because just of the way that Christmas falls.
The way December falls every year, I lose a week right out the gate. I'm literally in the tail end of my month. I've got, I think, 5 more days I'm open the rest of this month, and then we go into the new year.
Right.
I'm hoping. I'm gonna tell you right now. all I could get. I grabbed as much as I could, and they only gave me 20 displays of Brawl, which is 2 of each deck.
Right.
And that's also to last me in through January to have some other stuff to do coming into the release of Theros, because these Brawl decks are going to tie in pretty sweet.
Right.
They gave us something this year. It really feels like this is the year that they said, okay, we're going to death rattle the LGS and we're going to just box you in.
Grizzly says 28 in 2 days. Why not do 48?
Why not?
Yeah, why
So,
not do 48 hours
We can
of
talk a
cooking?
little more about how they treat the LGS in a minute when we kind of touch on what's going on with the digital products. But something I want to bring up just quick is the fact that they announced the end of the MTG novels, and what's really behind that, other than bad writing. We know that these novels have been really bad, right? But we also know that there's more behind it than that.
Yes.
And I think it's important to talk about because it does come down to kind of a political issue, or not wanting to deal with political issues.
If they really wanted these books to be well received, they'd take someone like R.A. Salvatore and say, hey, look, here's the bullet points we want in the novel. Write me a story.
Yeah.
But they get writers that aren't good. But what's the real reason behind them kind of canceling it? It's because of the whole. It's cancel culture. It's the whole thing that went down with Chandra over Twitter.
I believe the situation with Chandra and Nissa, with them changing Chandra's sexual orientation and how people were like, WotC's not inclusive and they don't promote diversity and all of this. I think they said, you know what, you're never happy with anything, we're just going to stop doing them again.
Yeah, well, it's not having the books allows them to easily control the narrative that's in the story, that's in the canons, instead of getting blasted like this. But hey, this is just one example of how there's certain people that look at things in a certain way will eat you alive no matter what you do, right? These types of people eat you alive, and Wizards experienced it. Their own supporters started eating them alive because they wanted to make one change, and I believe that they wanted to make that change because they wanted to make the character as appealing as they could to a mass audience for the Netflix series, because it's one of the main characters in the Netflix series. And I'm not saying that I don't enjoy stories with an LGBTQ character. I do. And I think there's tons of LGBTQ characters that are written really well and have really great stories,
Definitely.
I'll put it the simplest terms possible. Stop pushing sex on 13-year-olds and just write a fucking story.
Yes.
There you go. I mean,
that's a straight way to put it, but I do agree.
I don't care about anybody's sexuality. If you're happy with your life, then be happy with your life.
Right. Why does it matter? Why does it matter? Oh, yes, she's got this title and she's got this label. Why can't she just like who she likes and that's it?
My philosophy has always been, if you have to go out of your way to tell everybody, yes, I am happy, chances are you're not happy.
Yes.
That's a great point.
I am some of the best times of my life when I was telling people, yeah, things are great, I'm happy, I couldn't be better, I was miserable. And then there were other times where I'm just like, yeah, just another day, another dollar. That's when you can tell you're probably your most content.
Right.
Is when you're indifferent to the world.
Right. So
just tell me a story about freaking space wizards that are going from multiverse to multiverse, blasting huge holes in entire continents, causing nuclear winters which create fallen empires. Tell me stories like that.
Yeah.
Don't tell me, hey, this one has a love interest with that one, and this one loves that one. I don't go on Twitter for a reason. I don't want to hear about your love life. I want to hear a good, hearty story.
Right. And I don't think that good stories can't have romance in it. I just think that when you're pushing a romance or their sexuality for a specific reason, that's when people don't like it.
Yeah. I mean, if they just happen to have a picture in one of the books and Chandra was holding another girl's hand, but they said nothing about it, it wouldn't affect me. I'd be like, okay, cool. Subtlety.
But saying, hey, Chandra's gay or Chandra's straight, that's the problem, is they have to announce it.
I don't care. I just be happy with yourself, and you don't need to write your happiness into a story to tell everyone else you're happy with yourself. Just write a good sci-fi story.
Right.
Just write a good story. And I think this is this a lesson learned for Wizards, or are they not going to take anything from this? And the lesson learned is these very same people they're pandering to will eat you
money.
up in a minute if they get a chance.
And they don't spend money.
Right.
And they don't spend money. So has Wizards learned a lesson or not?
No.
Nope.
Probably not.
I mean, this
No.
is just a long line of Wizards bending the knee for absolutely zero reason.
Undying. Plot twist, she's gender neutral. God damn
They
it.
actually said that. They said that she
Yeah.
would go either way.
Yep.
And you know what? I don't care. I really don't care. I mean, my daughters are 19 and no, sorry, 20 and 21 now, right? About to be 20 and 22. And if they were putting this stuff in the Magic back when they were like 14 and 15, when they like playing big, or when I first started teaching them at 9, I'd shelf the collection because I don't want them to be thinking about that. I want them to be thinking about
A
fun
game and
things
enjoying the fantasy and the just the aspects that come with playing the game.
What next? Are they gonna say Oko's a furry?
Oh no.
Oh my god, that's gonna be a meme now.
Please don't, Grizz. Grizz, don't give anyone any damn ideas. Please don't. I'll ban
And,
you, Grizz. I'll ban you.
Eric's looking for a furry friend, apparently. So
Whoa, wait, what?
he,
Eric, oh my gosh.
so it's just a shame that they don't learn from this. That
You know what?
here's the point of bringing it up. The point of me bringing it up is, come on, how can't you see this for what it is? These
It's just
pandering to these people. The second you make one mistake, they eat you alive. There's no room for error. There's no room for change. Like look,
like
if
very
I was
cool.
part of that, I just want to say, if I was part of that community that really wanted Chandra to be a gay character, and I'm not part of that community, but if I was, and I have no problem with them, but if I was, I would have at least been more reasonable and said, all right, explain yourself.
Right, exactly.
Explain
Not just
yourself.
like,
You know,
attack dogs,
why,
go.
what's going on? You
Right.
know, why did you change the character? You know, and I think we have to be a little forgiving for them wanting to Magic to be like a mass appeal, mass market story. So they want these characters prepped and ready for the Netflix series.
Honestly, you want to know the simplest thing? They're trying to turn red into the color of just chaos. The red is the chaos color, but they want it to be in the, well, 1 minute I want this, the next minute I want that, 1 minute I want her, the next minute I want him.
Right.
Whatever. And what I would give my writers as explicit rules are: stick to the story, stick to the plots, no romance, no plot hooks. This is general audience storyline, and we want to catch the most. We want to net and catch the most fish.
Well, they should probably pick a good writer to do that first of all. They pick pretty bad writers.
They pick the people who bid the lowest.
Yeah.
They're worse than government. They're worse than government contracting. Like government contract, they pick the people that want the most. This is the exact opposite. They want you to build them a bridge, where 2,000-ton military trucks are going to drive over with wood and nails
Yeah, right.
across a like 400-foot span.
Yeah.
I just hope that these writers, and aside from the controversy or non-controversy behind it, I'm hoping these terrible writers have nothing to do with Baldur's Gate 3.
I agree. Exactly. Yes.
Oh, the truth of
Nothing
the matter is,
whatsoever to do with Baldur's Gate 3. Please. Leave
That's
my
Bethesda,
Baldur's
right?
Gate alone.
that's Bethesda, right?
No, Larian Studios,
Yes, Larian
who
is
did
doing it.
the
Okay.
original Sin, is,
Yes.
and they are very good at what they do.
Oh, they are.
They are
They're
very good.
We'll see how many knees get bent. But I mean, it's just like Mary Sue Wars. I checked out with The Last Jedi. I'm gonna say it right now. I pirated Solo.
Oh no, we're not pirates. No.
No, I mean I didn't
We're
actually.
not
borrowed
pirates
Solo.
here. Damn it.
I didn't
We
actually
borrowed it.
We're not pirates.
streamed it, and the truth of the matter is, it wasn't that bad. It's like Fleckis says, Trump's not that bad.
I personally thought that Solo was really bad, but to each their own.
I didn't like it that much either.
Drop the romantic interest and just follow the subplot in the background, and it wasn't that bad. It wasn't good. It wasn't
I
amazing.
personally thought that the romance was one of the only good things. Hot take. I didn't think that it was that bad.
I actually liked the interaction between Solo and Beckett more.
Okay, I can see that. Yeah.
The dynamic. I saw that
Yeah.
plot coming a mile away that he was going to get sold out, but
Right.
he stuck true to his character. He was in it
Right.
for himself. And you knew that right out the gate with him being a mercenary.
I mean, it's not fair to talk about Star Wars. Star Wars is a dumpster fire now. I don't know if you saw if you know the plot for the new movie.
Yeah, I do.
Yeah, because I
Yeah.
talked about it yesterday. I was attacked for it. Everyone's like, "It's not true. You're making
Yes.
up lies," and everything's true. Everything's
big
true.
Twitter channel
Yeah.
went after her for her rumor video. Oh, speaking of Star Wars and Hasbro, isn't Hasbro one of the companies that was really upset over no Baby Yoda stuff?
Probably. Yes, definitely. But I'm gonna say this. I was preemptively had Rotten Tomatoes open just for the stream because I knew we were gonna hit this.
Yeah.
They have a total tomato meter of 202 votes in, with 59% of the critics saying it's a dumpster fire.
Yep.
Yeah. So what is it? It's certified rotten, isn't it?
Yes.
It's green. It's got a splatter, but it's 59%. So 59% is better than 40%. So, I mean, I don't know their meter, but I'm actually waiting for the audience score to come in. I've got a feeling this is gonna rank it around a 10%er.
All right. How about all three of us? We go to the movie theater. We buy tickets for another movie, and then we just go see Star Wars.
No.
Let's not give them our money, but let's see something.
Yeah, we'll see the movie.
Else.
I'll just go see that other movie. I actually at this point, with The Last Jedi getting as far in as I did on that movie, I have officially checked out of the Star Wars universe. And you don't know a bigger Star Wars fan than me. I was like one of those people that were making fun of Lotro fans as a Star Wars fan. And I love Lotro. But
I really love Star Wars. I love it. I've just ignored the new movies. Rogue One was good. Rogue One was good.
Rogue One was good. People are gonna hate this. I liked the Phantom Menace.
I liked
it because I swear to God, I thought they were gonna pull the plot twist of Jar Jar Sith.
Yeah, that would have been awesome.
And that would have been phenomenal because nobody expects the bumbling idiot.
Yeah, right. That would have been awesome though.
And I was like, oh my God, Mr. Bean's a Sith. Yes.
It's true.
Because Jar Jar Binks is the Mr. Bean of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah.
But that being said, no, you won't get me. I read the entire summation of the plot, and even if that plot's wrong, I'm gonna read the correct plot when it comes out.
It's not.
It's
so
correct.
If you watch my yesterday's video, that plot is 100% correct, and I can send you the link to that. It is 100% correct. There's pictures online. There's already pictures online.
I watched
of, like,
your
the
video.
Whole movie. The final battle scene, it's already online. You can already watch it online.
Because China.
Well, yeah.
Because China doesn't care. And that's why they need to stop premiering stuff in China.
Well, Japan's first, right?
Well, no, but if you ever watch it, it's always China because you'll hear people in the background and they're speaking Mandarin.
Right.
China's the devil. I stand with Hong Kong. Demonetized.
Yes.
Not monetized in the first place.
Right. Continuing. Yes.
Monetized, demonetized.
Yep.
We're taking that money away from you. The truth of the matter is, I have a huge prediction for 2020.
Sure.
The death of cancel culture.
I hope so.
And it's gonna culminate on one thing. It's gonna culminate on an election that happens at the end of the year.
Yeah.
We'll see. I don't want to make any political.
Yeah.
I'm done. I'm just saying that we're gonna see a lot of that. We're gonna see a lot of that happen. A lot of shit's gonna hit the fan, and it's just gonna be a complete collapse. And we'll see a lot of that stuff start to phase out as people stop buying into the clickbait, rage bait. Like I'm done. I mean, I can usually tell from a title or the first paragraph if this is clickbait, rage bait, and I'll immediately close it. I won't.
Well, you know what the SJW attack, anti-SJW channels, you know what they call that? They call it the reactionaries, and they call it reactionary culture.
I'm gonna keep it simple. I don't subscribe to snowflake culture anymore.
Fair enough.
Well,
Yeah.
then you don't want to follow those people, the people who call. I mean, but they'll call a channel like Dark Titan Enterprises. They'll call it a reactionary channel.
Yes.
They'll call the quartering a
Wow.
reactionary
You know
channel.
what? Have you ever watched reaction videos for, I don't know, KTF? The guy's phenomenal, and he does all reaction to music. You should
Right.
see his first ever Led Zeppelin review. That being said, who cares? At least I'm
Yeah.
reacting to substance and not stupidity.
Right. Exactly.
Oh,
Exactly.
you've insulted me. Yeah, go run from that hot lamp,
So
pasty.
and we'll continue talking about the status of cancel culture as the year goes on, definitely, and see what happens.
Yeah.
But hey, something big for Magic at least that I want to bring up, and this comes out of the video game awards that just happened. And I just want to say that Wizards went really hard as far as
Yes.
marketing and announcements out of the game awards. They advertised Arena 4 or 5 times.
Yep.
They had a Theros announcement for the new set, and actually had someone come on stage and talk about it.
Yep.
They announced a new Dungeons and Dragons game based in Icewind Dale. I think it's like
It's called
I
Dark
believe it's like
Alliance. Right.
a multiplayer
It's
gauntlet
a
style game.
4-player co-op.
It's 4-player co-op. And then biggest of all, they announced Legends,
Yes.
which is their new big project, the Magic MMO, the Magic-based MMO.
Yes.
So, is this something they should be doing? We have to ask ourselves a couple questions, right? Are How healthy is the MMO market for them to be even doing this? And should they be concentrating on something else other than an MMO? And is an MMO something that they should have done 10 years ago and not now? So big questions.
So
But
here's the question: Is it MMO or is it an MMMO?
It's an MMO. It is
it's
a
an MMO.
yes.
It's
is
an
a
action-based.
It is an action MMO.
So
Like
it
Black
is.
Desert Online. It's like Black Desert Online.
Yes.
Is it a WoW thing or is it
It's
a
like a World of Warcraft. Yes, it's an
Yeah.
MMO.
or a WoW thing?
It's like World of Warcraft.
Yes, it is an MMO.
Yep.
I have mixed feelings. I've always wanted one, but I think that ship sailed 10 years ago. A little history about myself, everybody. I've been in Magic since '93, the beginning. I've been in MMOs since their first birth on 28.8, 14.4 dial-up, 28.8 dial-up. I was playing Asheron's Call in alpha before it released to the public because Turbine Studios was down the street in Westwood from my shop in my friend's shop at the time in Norwood, and everybody walked through the store one day, just gave everybody a CD and a beta key, and they gave them one for every computer, and they got everybody playing in the area, and the game was phenomenal. And that type of thing is cool, but the online community for that has just degenerated. Everybody's gone to laptops and mobile gaming, and if you told me that they were going to be doing a Magic the Gathering MMO mobile game, I could potentially see that because this POS right here, Galaxy S8 Plus, is stronger than my computer in '96.
Yeah.
And I could definitely see that being a thing that people could do in their spare time.
Yeah.
But if you can't play it on the toilet, you can't play it on the bus going to work, you're not going to play it. You're going to do something else.
Now, I actually have a different opinion. Now, I've played MMOs for a long time. I still play
And
MMOs.
you're a big MMO player
yes,
right
I'm
now.
a very big MMO player. And I think that the MMO market, yes, I do not think it has a lot of room to grow. But I do think that there are still a lot of players that love MMOs. And as an MMO player, I see this all the time. People are always looking for the next best MMO. People are always trying new MMOs. I mean, we saw Bless Online, that failed epically, but there were like 500,000 people trying to get on the servers at the time of just launch, never mind going through launch day. World of Warcraft Classic has 5 million registered accounts for World of Warcraft Classic, and that only launched in August. And I think that new MMOs do launch quite a lot, and yes, majority of them fail, but I think that most players that still like MMOs are always looking for the next better in big MMO. I think that it has a fighting chance in the MMO market. I really do. But I don't think that it will if they monetize it poorly. I think that that is going to be a huge point, is the monetization.
I just want to mention we don't know how they're going to monetize it yet,
No,
but
we
yeah,
have no
keep
clue.
going. Yeah.
We have no clue about monetization. We have no clue the graphics of even, it could be a game that could require some high PC specs, and that could cut a lot of percentage of players off too. And that's a thing with World of Warcraft, is it doesn't require, like, it requires a potato. So they could make it over the top, and then it's too powerful for a lot of people to play.
That's because this is stronger than, than the computers when the potato game came out.
But I think that if they monetize it properly, it has the chance to be the next World of Warcraft classic where everyone is playing it and everyone wants to play it. I think
and you know what? I honestly think
so.
that I honestly think that it can succeed, and there is enough want for it.
Yes,
but
I think so.
they would be better off fixing DDO. DDO in its alpha and beta was a phenomenal game. Dungeons and Dragons Online.
Yeah.
They made one change which nerfed the game for me, but I still say it's one of the best ones out there. Take DDO.
Yeah.
Take DDO, skin it over to Magic themed, make Magic honestly, that's probably what they're gonna do. They're just gonna
I think though that a huge thing is the action part of it. It's not tab target. It's not. Action MMOs have been in such high demand, and I see that with Black Desert. People hate the monetization of Black Desert Online, but it is still such a popular MMO because people love the action side of it, and there's not enough action MMOs. So I think that that is what they're going to bank on, that players like the combat, that it's action, and that there's not a lot of action MMOs, and that if it's monetized properly, I think that it could be big.
Honestly,
so here's what I worry about. Okay, and what I worry about is the company that's actually behind this.
Yes, that is a big worry.
I totally agree that something done right will be successful.
Yes.
Now, will this be done right? So this game is being developed by Cryptic Studios, who's been working on it since 2017.
Yes.
And they've been working with Wizards of the Coast. They've been working with another company called Art Games, who's been developing things for it. Yep. Now, we're talking about the same companies that are behind the phenomenal Neverwinter Nights and Dungeons and Dragons Online, which are both broken, which are both not very good MMOs.
They did the Star Trek Online MMO.
They did Star Trek. Yes, they did Star Trek Online, which was an utter failure. Yes. That game was so bad. It was an utter failure.
That is a huge problem with who is actually behind it.
This is not a AAA developer.
Right, this is
not
like Larian Studios.
Right. They got a AAA. I just want to say, for Baldur's Gate 3, they did right. They went and they got a AAA developer to develop Baldur's Gate 3. And Larian Studios is definitely, in my opinion, is a AAA developer.
Yes.
But this studio is certainly not, and they've never proven themselves, and everything that they've built is shit.
Give me the Oasis. Anyone?
The Oasis?
Yeah, the Oasis. Ready Player One, dude.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Okay.
If they were to take this game and turn it into a VR, if they take Magic D&D and make the first solid VR MMO, then I could see them making this explosive. Make VR MMO, and I think that's your next stage. Right now, that is not anything on the market.
Right. Fair enough. Yeah.
Is this taking away, though? How much are they putting into this? How much money? How much R&D is going into this? Is this R&D that's being taken away? And I have to keep thinking about this. This is R&D being taken away from the paper game. I mean, we know that Arena is definitely taking R&D from the paper game.
I'll tell you, from my side of it, the amount of promotional stuff coming in to dish out to players has significantly decreased.
Yeah. Because they're putting all their effort into Arena.
It's like what they did with BFC. They took their entire advertisement budget and at PAX Prime made a giant Eldrazi smashing a police car and got on national news, and they considered that a success, even though they pulled out the entire advertisement budget that year from support at tournaments and events, and single-handedly crashed the standard market.
Yeah.
You keep pumping stuff into the LGS to keep the players happy and freebies, and you're going to be good to go.
Yeah.
You don't, and forget about it.
Right.
Yeah. and this is all kind of roundabout because we started off talking about the health of the LGS, but I
Right.
think this also plays into the health of the LGS.
I
Is
agree.
they and I think that they have more than enough money and more than enough
Yeah.
access to resources to support everything all around. They could definitely put money into keeping the paper game as popular as ever and keeping the LGSs as popping as ever, but
Yeah.
they're just not doing it.
Nope.
You
No,
know,
because they think the future is e-games, and you know what?
Yeah.
I think there is a future in e-games, but I don't think
Yes.
it's the last. I don't think it's got. I don't think the e-game, the world in esports. I do not think it has more than 5 years left in it.
Yeah.
Technology is out. Technology is outpacing it. We're gonna see in the next 5 years probably some of the most insane VR you've ever seen in your life, and you're gonna actually see esports where people like myself that are heavier are not going to be able to compete because we just don't have the agility for it. It's going to turn younger and younger. It's going to be people doing crazy stuff. Think Dance Dance Revolution and Fortnite.
Yeah. Definitely.
Dance
well,
Dance Fortnite.
well,
Great.
Asfera, I can use an example of a game that me and you both love that it probably has outpaced us. One that I haven't been playing because of some philosophical disagreements I have with the developer,
Yep.
but that's StarCraft.
Yep.
Okay, StarCraft is a game for the young, even though it's an old game. And why I say that is because it
Right.
needs such agility and eye-hand coordination. The game is so tough to play at
And
the
you saw the
professional
game
level.
you and Lance played with me, and I freaking wrecked house on that game, not playing it in a decade.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hey, I'm slow and old, so you
I
know
got fast fingers.
you got fat,
Wait,
fat,
wait,
fat,
wait. That was
fat,
that was
fast
right.
fingers.
Fast fingers, fast hands. Wait, that's not right.
Well, there they are. There they are. But yeah, so I think StarCraft is a good example of a game that's been around forever that
Yeah.
you need to be very fast. You need to have very good coordination. And if you start slowing down, and we all know coordination definitely starts slowing down as you get older, and you don't have that coordination, you cannot keep up with those players. You just can't do it. It's
Right.
not possible. So
Right.
what you're saying is correct. And also, I've seen people debate the fact that they don't think esports are real and that esports in general are a scam. And you can easily find tons and tons of information and videos about that out there on YouTube and on Google simply by writing esports as a scam.
I look at esports, and I'm going to tell you just from my perspective of growing up in the industry. Like I'm going to say it. I'm 44 years old. I've been in the gaming industry since most of these people were even before these people were born. I've watched the electronic hustle come up, and all esports are is a giant advertisement to get people to buy the games.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Oh, I might
I
get
agree.
15 seconds of fame on the television in a Fortnite championship. Hey, I can win this amount of money. All these companies are doing is throwing their advertisement budget at tournaments to give them hype that wouldn't necessarily be there. Take the best shooter ever made, and it doesn't get this kind of hype. Has anybody here ever played Call of Duty Allied Assault, Medal of Warfare?
Yes.
Medal of Honor, Call of Duty Medal of Honor Allied Assault. It is by
Uh,
far the most accurate shooters.
what system was it on?
PC.
PC. Okay.
There are ones for like Xbox and stuff like that. And they're pretty decent, but
Yep.
you take an Xbox player and
Right.
you take a PC player and you put them their skill levels timed and recorded into a computer, and the PC player is going to eradicate them.
Right.
Well, yeah, because the mouse and the keyboard is so much more accurate, and
I mean, think about it.
the motion is more fluid.
Yeah.
I just
So-
bought a $120 mouse for myself for Christmas for $60 on Black Friday,
Damn.
and it's the Razer Trinity, right? It's a phenomenal mouse. The precision on that is insane, and it's one of the very few wireless mouses I would ever say would be good for an FPS. And I still wouldn't use wireless for an FPS. I would still go wired. And I bought
So-
one that can actually plug in and become wired.
Yeah.
Right.
So does all of this kind of mean that all these efforts between the MMO, between Arena, between pushing to esports, is Wizards just too late to the game? Is this stuff just kind of
Yes.
dead? We all know that. Hey, I just want to mention, we all know that at least with Magic, Wizards has never been first to market. You know what I mean? They've never been first to market. They've always been kind of the
Oh
follower.
yeah.
and you can't claim that MTGO is first to market. MTGO is a pile of crap.
Yeah.
Always has been a pile of crap.
Yep.
But they're always kind of like chasing someone else's tail with their Magic product. And because Magic has been around so long and so popular, they've been able to try to kind of keep in the race. But is it just outpacing them? Are they just too late? Is this MMO 10 years too late? Is Arena coming in at the end of what esports might be as we know it, where like Rob, you're sitting here saying that esports is going to go VR instead of
Yeah.
what we have now. I mean, how does that fare towards things like the card games? What's going to happen to the digital collectible card esport market? What's going to happen to Hearthstone, Arena, Gwent, all these, and we've seen what Gwent and Legend is the Skyrim card game.
Yes.
Both of those have halted development. Am I correct
okay, so
in that?
Gwent has not, but Gwent on consoles, they're done making content for, but Gwent is still on PC. They're still doing development for PC. Legends, though, is completely done. They are not developing anything new for Legends anymore.
Oh, I forgot to say it at the start of the stream. Merry Christmas, everybody.
No, you said it.
Oh,
You said it.
You
Yeah,
said
but
it.
Merry Christmas to all.
we got a nice little crowd here now. Merry Christmas, everybody, and happy
Yes.
happy holidays, happy New Year's, all the fun stuff in life.
Happy Hanukkah as well.
Yep, that as well. I mean, if that's your preferred greeting, I will accept it, and I will give you a Merry Christmas.
Happy, whatever.
Happy Christmas, Hanukkah. I think that there will always be people that want to play the classic styles of MMO, but as that market ages itself out, and let's face it, gamers are not a healthy group of people. If I was going to put a life expectancy age on gamers, I would say 65 to 75, as opposed to the average in this country, which is 90. Okay? That being said, I think a lot of these games are going to age themselves out to the point where you need to bring in so much money in order to keep a server up and running. And once you get to a point that's just above that number, once you hit the break-even threshold, you immediately pull the plug. You don't give it a chance to drop below.
Right.
Right.
And that's what I see Magic Online doing. That's what I see Magic Arena doing. Now, the perk to paper games and physical games is that even when somebody taps out and they're done, somebody else can inherit it. Right?
Yeah.
And they can get it and they can pick it up.
Right.
Like old Atari games. Like, I mean, a 20-something game in the 80s, that those people now are in their 60s.
Right.
And they still want those systems back.
Right.
But I die tomorrow, my kid gets my Magic collection, she's set for life.
Right.
I mean, this is a problem with the digital space in general, though. Vara had a stream yesterday where I watched the stream. You talked about what happened with Tron, right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of the same thing. That was a digital game where its DRM caused it to become unplayable, even if you had it installed on your computer.
Right. Yes.
Yeah, speaking of mounts, I have mounts that are worth ridiculous amounts of money in EQ2, and I refuse to play that game because Daybreak Games, aka They Break Games, is a dumpster fire company that makes Blizzard look like Mother Teresa on a good day.
Yeah.
So you have a lot of money invested in that game. Hey man, did you play Ultima Online when it came? Oh man, I loved that game when it came out. Ultima Online.
Nope, I was an Asheron's Call player, and then when I left Asheron's Call to try another game, I went into DDO Alpha, into Beta, and they made a change in Beta that absolutely just dumpster fired the game. So I went and tried EQ2 and got hooked on that. I actually made a lot of money playing EQ2 selling plat. People are like, but that's a Chinese bot thing. No, you don't have to bot. You just have to be a very good crafter and be one of the best, if not the best on the server. I always had every character. I had every class max crafting level. So every crafting class, there were a dozen crafting classes, I believe, and I had every single one max level. I could do raid level crafting solo, which nobody on the server understood how I could do it.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, it's going to take me an hour, but I can make this crafted item that nobody else on the server can make without 4 people there helping them. which meant I got to say, you go AFK, I'm going to do this craft, and when you come back, the item's going to be in your thing, and the secure trade's going to deposit the money for doing the crafting in my pocket.
Right.
Hey, was DDO, that's the Eberron based one, right?
Yes.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
So DDO, Dungeons and Dragons Online, they made a boneheaded decision early on that they didn't want ranged combat happening in hand-to-hand combat. So to simulate the attack of opportunity you would get in pen and paper for using a ranged bow in hand-to-hand combat, right? The Wizards of the whoever was doing the design at the time decided that they would give the monster a +4 to hit you, and you got a -4 to armor class if you were holding a bow in your hand, which means that if you targeted something and shot it, everything just came in on you. You would instantly draw aggro. It would all come in on you. You would just instantly go down.
Right.
You didn't even have time to drop your weapon. You couldn't drop it on the ground. Nothing. You just got swarmed so hard. Three dogs on a beach would tear you apart. What do you do?
Yeah, what do you do?
So, like, that literally killed the game for me because I absolutely love rogues. It is my favorite class. I've played one in every edition. I've played at least 3 different campaigns a year with them. I do play some other classes, primarily cleric, but just rogue fits my nature.
Yeah.
Rogues can be a lot of fun, definitely.
Yeah.
You know,
There's see.
So the only digital product here that we really talk, I think Arena is going to continue to do good, but the only one that I'm actually confident in is Larian Studios' Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes.
You know, that's the only one I have any confidence in. I don't have any confidence in the Icewind Dale Dark Alliance game. And by the way, I've said this over and over. They already had a Dungeons and Dragons game named Dark Alliance. What the hell?
They did.
Why are they naming another Dungeons and Dragons game Dark Alliance?
Because nostalgia, people will go, wait, I remember that game from whatever year it came out, and is this the same? And then they'll pick it up. And even if it's not the same, they'll go, oh, I'm going to buy it.
I think Dark Alliance 1 and 2, they were from like 2003, around that time.
But it's nostalgia. Everyone just banks
Anybody
off nostalgia.
Anybody catch the name? Was it Elder Scrolls? Yeah, Bethesda's doing Elder Scrolls.
Like Elder Scrolls 1?
No, like I think it's a brand new Elder Scrolls, a new Baldur's Gate.
Elder Scrolls. Well, they're.
Wait.
Well,
I've just been getting bombarded with ads lately, and it says Bethesda, and then it's just this.
So
really
so there's an MMO. There's an Elder Scrolls MMO from Bethesda. Yeah,
I
that's
think
out. Yeah.
that game is the one that is gonna actually explode.
So that's already out. What are you talking about?
It's been out for years.
It is. How the hell did I miss this?
Yeah. Elder
But
Scrolls.
now I really feel like it didn't hit me, mummy.
Oh, it's okay. Elder Scrolls Online is from 2014, I believe.
Yeah,
they just
it's
came
really
out with Elsewhere. Yes, April 4th, 2014. It's by
Elsewhere.
ZeniMax and Bethesda. They just came
Well,
out with
ZeniMax is Bethesda.
Well,
So
yes,
it's
but that's the studio that does it.
Expansion I'm seeing. The cinematics I've seen on those so far have like actually had me going like, oh, when's this coming out? And then like I'm in the middle of watching a Politicast because I have no life. And bam, I forget to go click the link, and I'm like, now that looks like a game that will actually do well, and I bet it has been.
Elder Scrolls Online has had a very on and off player base. It's done really good, but
it's had
last
on and off
expansion
reviews
it did
as
awful.
well.
Like last expansion, like half the players left, like numbers tanked. They're hoping that this Elsewhere will boost the numbers up again, but it has declined.
They want to, Bethesda really wants to make it like a 3-tiered market. And what I mean by that is you have all these MMOs, like all the Asian MMOs that pop up like Black Desert or like Bless Online, and they come and they go. But you have the 2 mainstays that have been around for a long time, especially especially the Blizzard one. You have World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14, and people play these, they go play a new one, they drop it, and they go back to these.
Right.
Elder Scrolls, Bethesda wants their MMO to be that.
Yes.
And they need that victory with Elder Scrolls because they wanted Fallout 76 to be a huge hit. And it's not exactly an MMO, but it is an online multiplayer game that is an MMO-like game, I guess you could call it. Right. But it is a total flop, along with Anthem and Destiny and all that stuff.
Right.
So I think with Elsewhere, they really want to make it a contender, part of like a triad, instead of basically World of Warcraft and Final Fantasy 14 kind of ruling the MMO nest, which is kind of what's been happening for a long time now.
Yeah.
It's honestly, it's what's going to happen is honestly, I think the entire MMO is going to go VR, and it's going to be based on frame rates because you need VR that isn't going to make you sick and nauseous when you play it.
Right. That is a problem as well.
And a lot of that, people just they don't want to discuss it honestly. It's frame rates because most of it's operating at 60 hertz, and you need to get that up to 125 hertz.
Right.
Well, right. Most TVs today are at least 120 hertz. Right.
Yes.
Most TVs today. I think it'd be hard to buy a 60 hertz TV anymore.
No, a lot of your Walmart and Best Buy TVs are 65 to 85 hertz. A lot of your slightly better ones like Magnolia and like the Magnolia division and other divisions and stuff like that, and really good, decent gamers are 120 up. I guess there's some 240s out there, but the truth of the matter is if you're gaming on less than 85 hertz, you're risking a seizure these days.
Yeah,
even if you don't have epilepsy, because it's just too much information flashing on the screen. It's sensory overload.
Right.
That's true. So maybe they're going to make a VR component for Legends, MTG Legends. Who knows? Who knows? Yeah. I know, Vara, what you were saying earlier about if you do it right, there's potential because people are always looking for another MMO.
Yeah.
I just don't think it's going to be done right. This is a terrible company that has a really bad track record, going into a tough market where most games fail.
I don't want to just write it off. That's my only thing. I want to give them a fair chance and at least hear about their monetization methods and the graphics and, what it's actually going to be before I go, oh yeah, it's going to fail. Fuck them. Like, I want to at least give them a slight chance.
Now, here's another question about the whole MTG Legends product. Is there a possibility you think that their thinking is more than just the MMO market? That they're thinking, well, we have all of these arena players, because arena is definitely on a wave right now, and they're trying to kind of ride that arena wave. Because arena is a huge popular. It's hugely popular. So you think they're trying to get this thing out as fast as they can to not just get players from the MMO space, but also bring in just pure Magic players that maybe did play in MMO before this? Do you think that they're maybe counting on that and depending on that too much? Because maybe it's not there. Maybe the translation from Arena to Legends doesn't exist, but they're banking on it.
I personally don't think that.
I mean, what do you think, Rob? Do you think that there's a little? Do you think that they are banking on Arena's popularity, trying to bring people in to Legends from Arena?
Hands down, they are banking on Arena being replacing paper within 5 years, and everybody's saying it's the future of the game is digital. The future of the game is digital. The future of the game is digital. I'm going to tell you right now, the future of the game is not digital. Because people like to physically own stuff. Yes. We are a materialistic country, materialistic world. You can't be materialistic if you own a digital item. It's not real. It's intangible.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think there's any influence of the paper game to Legends.
Right, no.
But what I'm trying to figure out here is Wizards banking on the fact that they have a ton of arena players to try and get arena players that maybe were not MMO players before to go from arena and make a translation to Legends? That they're going to get MMO players for Legends to make it successful, not just from the MMO sphere, but also people that are already playing arena, which is a digital product, getting them to play in Legends.
Whereas there is crossover, I think it's less than 25%. I would say probably closer to 10%. They would be much better off trying to get arena players to play animated versions of their classic board games. Hell, if they were to take Lords of Waterdeep and polish it up so it plays like arena, you would have everybody and their mother buying that game and paying to play. They would pay to play in events online of games like that.
Right.
They would be much better off digitizing board games and pushing the board game market digital.
Right.
I understand the social aspect of board games, but you could only play so many board games with friends before they have to go home for the end of the night.
Right. That's
Same
true.
with Magic. You can only play so many games. MMOs are literally designed for people who sit for 36 hours with their
Right.
eyes like this, not moving the rest of their body, clicking their hands and moving things around and getting stuff done and screaming, ah, poo!
Right.
I think, yeah. So I think what you're talking about is actually a great idea, and really actually not something I thought about before. When I was thinking about these topics, it's true. I remember when I was a kid, and I got my first DOS-based version of Risk. I loved that game. I
Yeah.
played Risk on DOS so over and over and over and over because I was a huge Risk and Axis Allies fan when I was a kid. So I remember just, oh my God, I loved that. And I also loved Defender of the Crown, which was not a board game, but it was like a board game type video game, like Risk. But I remember playing those. So you make a great point that I wasn't even thinking about. Lords of Waterdeep digital would be awesome.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Me and my friends played Lords of Waterdeep for probably 3 hours on Saturday, and then right after that, actually, I think I still have it here. We then proceeded to play for the next 6 hours a great little game from Zafty called Solimnium. Sorry, I'm always horrible with this. Somnium, okay? This game right here, you can play in about 15 to 20 minutes with 2 to 4 players. You're looking at a game where you're trying to get to 20 points. You earn points by play. It's a play one, draw one, pass unless something else says otherwise. Gain points as you go.
Right.
But if somebody destroys one of the things you have out, you lose that many points as well.
Right.
So, it's little games like this that would be really quick play games that I think should be digitized.
Yeah. Okay.
MMOs, if you want to build the next best MMO, get ahead of everyone else and go VR. I'm going to stick by that statement 100%.
I think it's reasonable to say that because you're kind of looking towards the next step.
Right.
I'm looking towards Ready Player One.
Yeah.
I think, unfortunately, and I think VR is somewhat still of a niche kind of market because of its expense. I know that PlayStation has sold 3-4 million PSVRs,
Right.
but that pales into and that's a bunch. I'm not laughing at that number. We shouldn't take that number for granted. But they've sold 100 million PS4s.
Right.
Okay.
And how many Oculus Rifts have been sold? Oculus Rifts, when they came out, part of the problem with those and PSVR is the fact that there's a million wires to hook up, and it pissed a lot of people off. They've moved away from that because now Oculus has like the almost wireless versions, and I've read that the PS5 VR will basically have very few wires as well. So they're conquering that problem,
Right.
So that's a step. So price and accessibility are definitely something to get VR.
Here's the problem with the future of gaming consoles. I'm going to tell you right now. They're all going disk driveless with the option of getting a secondary disk drive to add in yourself and get physical copies, but it's going to cost you like add-on. They're all also going to internal hard drive and cloud storage. Well, it's going to cost you money to keep those cloud storages going unless you do a Steam style. So if you don't do a Steam style setup, and honestly, I guess storage is mundane unless you're playing from online. So if you have to download it to your game, that's where it really matters.
Right.
I would say though that these. I just want to say I would say that these are options though that will be in maybe the second version of the consoles coming out, because the consoles that are coming up, the PS5 and the Xbox Series X or the Xbox, sorry,
it's Xbox X.
Yeah, all have physical drives. They might release, as you say, digital versions, but
the information I'm getting on these systems is they're pushing hard to remove those physical drives. They want hard drives.
What a lot of people think that they want to go to with maybe like the Xbox Series X, Xbox Pro or something, But we've seen the physical, we've seen the actual physical box that the Xbox Series
Right.
X have a drive. And as far as hard drives go, for internal storage, yes, they want cloud-based options so that people can save their games off the cloud, and I think that's good. But they're going to SSD storage for all of these drives because they want the speed that you get out of solid-state drives. Basically, these consoles that are coming out, the Xbox Series X and the PS5, have instantaneous load. There's no load on them. They don't load.
That's the amazing part, but the problem with SSD is they're more prone to corruption over time as you rewrite.
Oh, sure, right, because they can only be written to so many times. I understand.
So put it this way: they don't need to do cloud storage except for maybe your save states, because realistically, they only have to keep one copy online that people download from. Okay.
Right.
If you decide you're going to uninstall the game, well, they only have to keep one copy of the game online. You turn around at that point and you say you want to reinstall it, you just go back to the link, queue up, and download it again. And 100 people can download from the same one link with no latency.
Right.
1,000 people could do it.
Yeah.
Now, where you get interesting is every time you write and rewrite an SSD drive, right?
Yep.
You are more prone to data corruption because of the way data is organized and the way it's compressed.
Right. This is all true. And
unless they actually give these hard drives an actual option for defragmentation so that they can scan defrag and actually mark bad sectors, over time, SSD drives are actually more prone to have bad sectors and become smaller and smaller and smaller and smaller until eventually they fail and you have to replace the whole thing.
Right.
So this is something that they have kind of addressed, and the solid state drives that exist today can be written to, far more times than when the drives came out. They have vastly improved. They have vastly improved them to the point where corruption is not very common. It's not very common. So I hear what you're saying, and the thing that I worry about though is not that these SSD drives are going to fail in when the consoles are sold and launched, because they're probably not going to. The problem will be down the line. You're not going to be able to use. So if I take an Atari 2600 today and I put a game in it, I can get that thing to work no problem, right?
Yep.
An Xbox Series X won't. In 30, 40 years is not going to function. And one of the reasons is because of the SSD drive.
Right.
Those SSD drives, even though they are much better today, they're fundamentally better today than they were, say, 5, 6 years ago, in 30, 40 years, those SSD drives won't work.
It's wear and tear. It comes down to wear and tear. Heat on the system while doing storage, things like that. Expansion and contraction from the heat. How well can you? It's heat. Heat is the murderer of all new gaming systems.
Right.
Yeah. Heat is the murderer of all computer chips, all ICs.
Yes, but I can run an Atari and have it generate its maximum heat from 1981, and I can run that for 10 years consecutive before I might burn out its ballast. I still won't have affected its hard drive.
Right.
Well, Atari doesn't have a hard
motherboard.
Yeah.
No, they use chips pretty much.
Well, it has RAM. And it does have a ROM on it, of course.
So they're ROMs. They're not RAM. It's ROMs.
Well, no, it has both RAM and ROMs.
Atari does not have RAM.
Yeah, it does.
Unless it's built into the motherboard.
It's built into the motherboard.
Okay, I will accept.
It's a very small amount too, which was one of the problems with the Atari 2600. Even when it came out, it's what, 64 bits, not kbytes, bits.
It might be 64 bits. It's really small number.
It's really small, because even the Apple IIe, when it launched, roughly like the Apple IIe, which launched 2 years later, it had 48K of RAM, which is astronomically higher than the Atari 2600.
Sorry, we're both wrong. 128 bytes of RAM.
128 bytes.
Yeah,
runs at 1.17 megahertz.
Yeah. So I said 64 bytes, so I was close. I was close.
Wow. Close,
Oh
but
my
not
god,
close
it has
enough.
that's an 8-bit MOS processor.
Yeah, it's a 6502, I believe, isn't it?
07.
CPU. It's a what? 6507?
6507.
Right.
Well, anyway, the point being that these consoles in the future aren't going to function.
Correct.
So we know that. But hey,
Ataris are like roaches. They're gonna survive a nuclear winter.
Yeah, they will.
exactly. So hey, I think we should just end off with maybe our last thoughts on MTG Legends and.
We missed one thing though. I will say this.
What was it?
What I am super excited for this upcoming year, but I'm exceptionally worried about is the Magic the Gathering draftable commander set. But it's going to be 20 card packs with a foil in it. And I
yes.
really think that it's going to be like $15, $20, $25 a pack. It's going to be undraftable because nobody's going to be able to afford to draft it, especially if you need between, what is it, like 20 card packs. You're going to probably need at least 3 of them to draft.
Right.
But I'm excited because foil Soul Ring.
Oh, yeah.
It'd be the first foil Soul Ring, right?
Well, no, we have judge promos and
Right. Besides those
and odds and ends and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm just excited for things like that. Like when we got our foil Ashnod's altar.
Yeah.
So that's out of everything that Wizards has announced this year, that product has my players the most excited, and that tells me that they are failing on all fronts.
Yeah, that's true. If that's what players are excited for, then.
Well, it's kind of like how we started this episode, where we kind of said that there's too many products, and you had mentioned that there's so many products that they can't print enough of each one to keep up with demand. They can't print enough Eldraine because they're too busy printing something else, or they can't get the Brawl decks out because they're too busy printing Eldraine. They need less products on the market. This is getting ridiculous. And the collector sets don't even get. We could do a whole episode on goddamn collector sets, and we probably should. So it's getting out of control. And
there is no collector set. Only Zool.
Only Zool. And everyone, if you haven't seen the new Ghostbusters trailer, go watch it because it's about Zool.
Yes.
The new. Oh yeah. Pop culture people, go watch your new Star Wars and go, this is what 2016 should have been. I'm gonna get.
You mean Ghostbusters?
Yes. What did I say?
You said Star Wars.
I was like, wait, does he mean
what are you talking about? You mean Ghostbusters?
I'm like, wait a second.
Freudian slip there.
Yeah.
Final
I think
thoughts.
Vara talked about the Ghostbusters trailer in last night's stream.
Yeah. I'm interested.
Or Monday's stream. Yeah. So hey, if that's the product that they're interested in, I'm all for that because we all know that Commander is the only thing that is kind of keeping paper Magic alive, or it's the most popular, the most played paper format, and I don't think that that's going to change. I think that's going to continue. And if they're excited about a Commander product, I'm happy about that. But I'm not happy about the amount of products that are out there.
Agreed.
I'm just not happy about it. I just every time I hear about another collector set, I cry a little bit. I shed tears.
You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. If they only release Commander editions going forward for specialty sets, I couldn't be too happy. Because the truth of the matter is, Commander players have money and will spend it and will play it. And I myself, being a Commander player, will buy every Commander product that comes out.
All right, exactly.
I very, 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 very reluctantly brought Brawl back into the store, and I brought it in reluctantly because I do not want them to get the wrong idea that I'm buying it for Brawl. I'm buying it for Commander staples. That's it. And my customers are buying it for Commander staples.
Fair enough.
All right. Fair enough. All right, so we are hitting the hour and a half. We just went a little over the hour and a half mark. Which is where we generally stop.
Go for it, guys.
Yeah, so we will continue talking about Commander and the Commander product coming in next year. next Titans table. The other thing we will address, I'm sure, because it will still be a hot topic, is the ban list that recently came out and how they're treating the Pioneer ban list, which we all think is ridiculous and it's ruining Pioneer before it even starts, which, again, is like a whole other episode's worth of information, and we will talk about that next time as well.
Yes, for sure.
Yeah, we definitely missed out on an opportunity with that. We just went off on a tangent with a few things, but the truth of the matter is,
it will still be discussed in 2 weeks.
Disgusting. Yes, you're right.
Yes,
it'll still be disgusting in 2 weeks.
Yes, it will be.
I bet you know where I stand on that topic.
Oh, yes, you do. Yes, you do. All right. I don't know, Vera, if you want to.
Yes. All right. Is there anything else that you two have to say?
I have.
Yes. One last thing.
Yes.
Epstein didn't kill himself.
Oh, no. He didn't. He didn't. We all know it's true.
All right, you guys. Thank you for Asfera and Grim for joining me tonight. And thank you to those in chat that stuck around and hung out.
And next time, it looks like we will have Eric with us. I don't know.
Yes.
I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know about
Cinder,
unfortunately.
He's working,
because
but that's
he's
okay.
working.
He'll be back eventually. But
yeah.
Yes, next week, of course, the holidays, so we won't be doing it next week, but the week after, we will most likely be here.
Yes, we will be here.
That would be cool.
Yeah, I think that I think New Year's is on Tuesday, correct? So
correct.
All right.
So New Year's Day, the 1st,
yes,
is on a Wednesday, which is perfect because we'll be long past hungover.
Yes.
Even though I don't drink.
Yeah. But all right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging around in chat. Thank you for stopping by. I appreciate it, and have a fantastic night, everybody.